Welcome to tonight's coverage of the BTDY Racing League Chase for the BTDY Cup. There's no place like home here at the Kansas Speedway for race 1. Colorado stays bottom, slides up into one. He comes back up the track and he gets clobbered. Here comes Loveland to the inside. Jeff Wright will come home and he'll win the race and win the playoffs at the Kansas Speedway.
With Jonathan Parker, he locks it up in the stage one. Jonathan Parker, our season 5 champion. Brian Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome back to yet another fine Tuesday night. You know what that means. It's BTDY night in America, coming at you from Darlington tonight for the Florida Skin Doctor 180. Man, it's been a while since I've been here for this BTDY series. I couldn't be more than happy to be back for it. I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me tonight, we have Daniel Cunningham and Lucas Lyons running the production truck. Daniel, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Logan. Happy to be up here in the booth with you. This track, Darlington, one of my favorites. It's actually not one of. It is my favorite track on all of iRacing and all of real life. It doesn't get any better than stock cars going around this place. So I am excited to see what kind of show these drivers can put on for us tonight. And I know we've got 135 laps of really good racing ahead of us.
Just a little over 180 miles tonight here at Darlington. The Lady in Black, the Darlington Stripe. It's a track with many, many nicknames. And we will find out tonight live on VSPEED just why this track gets so many names. But first, let's take a look at our points coming into this one. It is a heated battle up here in the top 3. Keith Mayato, Levi Cox, Brody Hayes, all within 1 point of each other. Mayato and Hayes with multiple wins on the season. Mayato has 2 already coming from Atlanta and Richmond. Brody Hayes taking home both of the road course races this season at Lime Rock and Road America. One more here at Worldwide Tech as well. Levi Cox picked up his win at Auto Club just a few weeks ago. And then we fall back to that 4th position. Eric Hutton, Chris Samard, Jeremiah Hobbs, Jace Coley, all those drivers right there battling for that top 5 spot. You have Jace Coley, Bailey Turner, Jake Mackey, Noah Mahalski rounding out the top 10. And then just above the cut line, Ryan Phillips and James Loveland in the 02. +8 on the line over Michael Robinson tonight, but Dallas Sullivan right there as well. Max Koss not too far out of the picture. Dennis Faircloth, Colton Frey Miller, Ray Massey, Cody Adkins, Alan Dice will round out your top 20 in the points. I think it's going to shake up a little bit here tonight, Daniel. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some moving going on. There's so many drivers that are so tight together with the points. You even look there at the cut line. Back to 15th, Max Cost only 18 points back of that cut line. And as you mentioned, our top three separated by 1 point. So a lot of really good battles going on in the points as we close in on the chase near the end of the season. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of movement with that. And I'm just excited to get these things fired off here this evening.
And we are so close to that chase. It is week 10 here. We've got Dover next week and Charlotte to round out the regular season. Then we're on for the chase for the championship here. We've got a little bit of time before we get to that. Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about Darlington? I know this is one of your favorite tracks. We'll pull up that track map so you can see exactly what this track looks like. Run us through it.
Yeah, like I said, one of my favorite tracks located, of course, in Darlington, South Carolina, 1.36 miles. As you can see there on that track map, two distinctly different turns, 1 and 2, able to kind of keep a little more throttle in it, get up along the wall, run that Larson line. 3 and 4, a little bit tighter, going to have to use a little more brakes, slow it down more, try to keep that momentum up as much as you can. 25 degrees of banking in one turn, 23 in the other. And this is one of the oldest speedways in NASCAR, opened back September 1st, 1950 is when the world was gifted this amazing speedway.
And amazing it is. The funny part about it, my favorite fun fact about this track is the odd shape is caused by a minnow pond that a farmer, whenever he sold the land to build this place, he made that a contingency. He did not want his minnow pond to be harmed in any way. So that's why you have that odd egg shape almost here at Darlington. Let's pull up our race analysis, and Daniel, let's hear that voice one more time.
So yeah, 135 laps for the race tonight. Going to be a competition caution on lap 20. Pit road speed 45 miles an hour. They've got 5 extra sets of tires in the pits tonight. BTDY admins footing that bill with these general tires. 3 green white checker attempts if we need them. 80% fuel, going to be roughly 47 to 50 laps on a tank of fuel. So we'll see how that strategy plays out, but I have a feeling they're going to want tires before they get to that point.
Yeah, this track will certainly chew them up, and just a little addition to the competition caution there as well. Just because it is Darlington, we'll likely see that yellow flag come out. If we do on or after lap 15, before lap 20, that will be our competition caution at that point. But besides that, qualifying is completed. We have cars taking up the grid. Let's get right down to it. We got a 28-car field here tonight. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be fast. And Jonathan Cofield in the 58 sets the fastest lap in qualifying with a 29.797. To set the pole, Braxton DeWeese, he was bad fast in practice, had the fastest lap there, but qualifying comes up a little bit short with a 29.873. Levi Cox in the 3rd position in the 54 machine, looking to pick up another win here at a short track next to the 9 of Michael Kostic. In the 3rd row, it's Brody Hayes in the 37 on the inside line next to the 02 of James Loveland. 7th position goes to Bailey Turner in the 24 next to Keith Mayato in the 36. Behind them, we've got Dennis Faircloth in the 80 machine with nearly a 30-second flat lap time next to the 88 of Eric Hutton to round out your top 10.
As we take a look back, we've got Rob Liedl starting in 11th tonight with Max Kost in 12th. Rolling off 13th is going to be Noah Michalski with Ray Massey in 14th. Starting 15th, Jake Maki with 16th place Ryan Phillips to his outside. 17th is going to be Cody Atkins, Mark Cofield to his outside in that 97, starting 18th. Rounding out our top 20, we've got Colton Freymiller in 19th and AJ Stravato starting in 20th.
A little bit further back than where I'm used to seeing that 33 start out, but in 21st, we have the 31 of Jeremiah Hobbs next to the 46 of Dallas Sullivan. In 23rd, it's the 5 machine of Alan Dice next to the 29 of Michael Robinson on the outside. The 78 of Danny Glover takes up the 25th starting spot next to the 91 of Zachary Smith. And last but not least in the field, the 65 of Jace Coley in 27th next to the 15 of Christian Blackwell at the back of the field. We are down into turn 3. I can't quite see the pace car lights. They do appear to be off. It's going to come down, and it's the time for my favorite thing in racing. Green flag in the air. Let's hear it go. Jonathan Cofield leads us to lap 1.
Jonathan Cofield gets a decent jump on those cars as they head down into turn 1. Staying close by to him, though, is going to be that 00 of Braxton DeWeese, and it looks like he's actually trying to take the lead here off of 2. Jonathan Cofield got a little bit loose down there on the bottom side. He's going to be falling back just a little bit as we've got contact behind him.
And that's going to be the first caution of the night. Not quite back around to start lap number 2. And we've got a mess on our hands. Multiple cars involved, the 78, the 29, I believe the 5 of Alan Dice involved as well.
I believe the 54 of Levi Cox also got a piece of that as well there as we queue up the instant replay to see what exactly happened here. This a little bit farther back, taking a look at Alan Dyson, the 5, the 78 of Glover. Yeah, this takes place a little bit farther up. You can see the 36 of Keith Mayato was caught up in it a little bit there as well.
We saw
What
the
exactly
3 wide
happened?
action. There's the 54 nosed into the wall.
Yeah, it looks
Let's take
like
it
that
back
may
one
have
more time
started
here.
with the 54. Yeah, 3 wide down into turn 3. Just doesn't work too well. Just contact running out of space. The 54 getting the worst of it there with heavy damage to the front of that car.
And that's 2 race winners here wrapped up in this one. Hey, actually, even more. You can throw Keith Mayato kind of into the mix as he makes some contact here. Not as bad as the rest, but the 36 will pick up a little bit of damage. That's unusual here for a first lap incident, but overall it is Darlington. You almost have to expect it, Daniel.
Yeah, and it's so tough when you're coming off at turn 2. You get a little bit loose, which is what it looked like happened to the 58 to start there of Jonathan Cofield, and then they just got put 3 wide and just not a track where 3 wide is going to work. And we didn't really get a chance to touch on pre-race picks or anything. That 58 of Jonathan Cofield was my pre-race pick here this evening, and a little bit of a rough start there for him among others, but definitely didn't get the worst of that there. Some others a little bit worse off than him.
A little love tap to that passenger side of that 58 machine. He should be able to continue on pretty smoothly here. However, this leaves the first car-controlled restart in the hands of Braxton DeWeese. And I feel like that's a very dangerous combination. DeWeese in control of a restart, it's going to be hard to keep up with him. I've seen that 00 in other leagues. I've seen him here. He's got the speed to get away, and clean air is going to be a big factor here, especially when you get down into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and even on that initial start of the race, when it was just on iRacing Green, he did a really phenomenal job getting the jump, getting the momentum through 1 and 2, and taking that lead away from Jonathan Cofield. So with him having control here, as you mentioned, it's going to just make it that much harder for these guys to try to find a way around him.
That it is. And we're finally getting most of our field back out on the track here, getting some damage repaired. You'll see him catching up to the back end of the field. Looks like Brody Hayes on the 37 has picked up a black flag for entering a closed pit, so not a great start for our most race winner here. The pace car is going to come down. DeWeese in control on the bottom. The roll reversed. Cofield on the top. Let's see how it goes. Geico restart zone coming up. Green flag in the air. And DeWeese on the loud pedal with a big jump from the bottom. He might get that second row clears. Bailey Turner's going to look to take advantage. He does get past Jonathan Cofield before turn 1.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Bailey Turner able to get up there and take that second place away from Jonathan Cofield. Back behind them, we've got Dennis Faircloth, Michael Kostick, James Loveland, among others, all battling for that 4th position. Dennis Faircloth, in a good-looking number 80 car there, is able to take that position, and he's going to look to try to chase down our leaders.
Might as well. It's now or never, because once we start getting into the back half of this race, it's going to be a lot of single file action. Obviously, you'll have some drivers that'll make mistakes that other drivers will be able to capitalize on. But,
and right as we
there's
say
one made right
mistake,
now. The 88 goes around.
big
Eric Hutton.
contact for Eric Hutton, and there's another bumper laying in the middle of the track. I'm not sure, doesn't look like that was his. That was another bumper other than the 88's laying there. And like you said, just as we were talking about drivers making mistakes, we see one with the camera on them. Go back and take a look here, and that was probably the 0-2 of James Loveland.
Ooh,
Yeah,
and the
just a
03 Mahalski
big-
gets stacked up in it, too.
Yeah, just a big accordion effect there between the three of them with that stack up off of 2. Taking another look on board here with James Loveland. Just nowhere for him to go. See the right front up in the air with that contact, and it's going to be some damage that he'll have to come down and get fixed.
That could very well be some suspension damage as well, which will extend the time needed down in the pit lane. And if we take a look at our timing and scoring here, Daniel, the 36 of Keith Mayato wrapped up in the first caution of the night, has elected to bring it back to the garage. I didn't think he picked up that much damage from that incident, but once he got back to the pits, it must have said otherwise.
Yeah, and it looked like he did have a pretty significant hit to that right front when he nosed it into the wall there. So unfortunate turn of events for the 36, and somebody that you always expect to be up front challenging for wins in any series that he races in. Definitely not the night that he was looking for here this evening.
Not the most beneficial whenever you're in the points hunt as hard as you are. Luckily, we do have 2 drop weeks here, but that might not help you in this late of a stage in the series. So it could very well come down to just the last couple of races here for Mayato to take home a regular season championship. But ultimately, he's pretty solidified up here in the top runnings for that playoff series. So, you know, he's going to be looking all right for that. But it's going to be a tough night to look back on here.
And, you know, you mentioned that points battle for the regular season championship. It was 2 of our other front runners with Brody Hayes and Levi Cox also caught up in wrecks. So all of our top 3 in points right now running, just looking at our timing and scoring, running 23rd, 27th, and 22nd, actually. I missed Brody there for just a moment, but not a good start to the evening for any of our top 3 here.
Yeah, we're really in a position here where we're likely going to find a new race winner tonight, where a lot of these guys, you know, Bailey Turner's still up there in second, but as the cards are played right now, it's not in his favor. We're seeing these top contenders drop like flies, and we're not even 10 laps into it. We're going to come around and start lap 10.
Yeah, 10 laps in, already 2 cautions, uncharacteristic for what we're used to seeing here in BTDY. But they're getting ready to get them lined up again and see if we can get some green flag racing in here for these guys.
Well, Braxton DeWeese will be in control again, a new contender to the outside. Bailey Turner has made the front row. Cofield finds his way to the inside of row 2. To the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag in the air. And we are back racing here at Darlington for the 3rd time tonight. And a big jump from the inside. Bailey Turner does a great job to not allow Cofield to get as far ahead as he did last restart. Around the outside we go. That's where you want that momentum to be. Cofield will have to slide in behind.
Yeah, we've got Dennis Faircloth taking a look to the inside. Looks like he's going to tuck back into line behind that 58 as they head down into turns 3 and 4. As you mentioned, good job by Bailey Turner there, able to retain that 2nd position. He's got his sight sets on DeWeese in that 00, and I wouldn't count him out. I know you've mentioned how strong DeWeese is once he gets that lead, but just being around BTDY as long as I have and seeing Bailey Turner, he is one that is going to have a say in this before the night's over.
Absolutely. You can always count on that 24 to be in the front runnings for a race win at any point in the race. right now, showing exactly why he has that reputation, hounding that back bumper of Braxton Deweese. And he's going to slide in behind here, stays up on the top side of the track. It is not time to move down. These drivers will likely single file out all the way through the field here within the next couple of laps. And we should be able to get some good green flag runs in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see just as we watch these battles here, Bailey drives it in deep into turn 3, not quite able to get up alongside that 00 of Deweese. But you can just see as we follow them around the track how close they get to that wall in 1 and 2. And I think that's what makes this track so fun, is you have to run up there to be fast. That's where all the speed is. And you have to be precise with doing it. You make just the slightest mistake, and you're going to have to pay big for it.
That is words of experience coming from Daniel Cunningham, as he's had multiple times of success here at Darlington. So you can take his word for it on that, as we are seeing it live. The entire field running the top line on the track. A little bit of action towards the back. The 33 is going to make a move up. AJ Stravato, he started back in 20th, now finds his way up into the top 10 after getting around Rob Liedl.
And the really impressive part for Stravato here is he was actually caught up in that first caution that we had as well. I heard him say over race comms in the session that he had some damage on the back of his car. So even with starting in the back, even with getting caught up in that, still on the move for the 33 as we take a look a little bit further back here. It's Brody Hayes trying to make his way back up through the field as well.
This is going to be a drive here for that 37. He is
big
capable
slide
of
right in front of him too.
And everybody avoids it. We fan out. We're 3 wide down the backstretch at Darlington. Luckily, we think better of it. Jake Maki on the bottom, Rob Liedl on the top. That was Alan Dice shooting the middle. That was not a common sight for Darlington at all.
No, and that was, I'm surprised that wasn't bigger than it was, as we saw Rob Liedl and I believe that was Dallas Sullivan get together. But we're going to take a look a little bit farther up here. We have got a 3-way battle for second between Bailey Turner, Jonathan Cofield, and now Michael Kostick throwing his hat in the ring trying to get up there.
Deweese able to find his groove now as he's put some distance between these three. This battle not helping at all. Deweese loving what he's seeing in the rearview mirror. It does finally get sorted out for the time being, but I don't think Michael Kostick is going to stay away from this challenge very long on Jonathan Cofield. Bailey Turner happy to have some breathing room now. That 58 still being hounded, and we've got more entering the equation even. Dennis Faircloth, Ray Massey right here behind as well, waiting for an opportunity. Just one mistake is all it's going to take, and you're going to have 3 cars trying to make a move on you.
Yeah, this also just goes to show what makes Darlington so tough, because when you go to make passes, you have to be decisive about it. You have to make them quick. As you can see, the 9 of Kostick with a big wiggle there off of 2, able to get it back under control. But if you go to attempt that pass and you're not able to complete it, you run side by side for even just a lap or 2, you can see how quickly it allows those cars behind you to catch up, as we've got Dennis Faircloth looking to the inside of Michael Kostick in 1 and 2.
And this inside move is just, it's so hard to complete. You have to be absolutely perfect on all of your marks. This track just, it doesn't present very good passing opportunities that you can create. It is created by mistakes from other drivers, and you just have to minimize yours. That is how you conquer a track like Darlington, where you cannot easily find a rhythm at all with the different shapes at both ends of this track.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As the caution comes out, this is going to be for our competition caution here on lap number 20, with Braxton Deweese still out front leading. But yeah, you're absolutely right though, Logan, just talking about the way that these guys have to race this track. It really makes me think of watching the old NASCAR broadcasts from back in the day, when you've got DW on there just constantly saying you got to race the racetrack and not the cars around you. That's kind of my spirit guide whenever I'm racing here, is just thinking about that in my head the whole time. And just as soon as you start trying to race the guys around you, that's when you run into trouble.
The truer words couldn't be spoken. That's one of my favorite things to say about this track is it's a driver's track. You can't go out there and just expect to be good, expect to make every corner. It's going to challenge you through every single lap to the point where you're going to regret your decision in joining the session at points.
Yeah, absolutely. It can definitely make you regret it if it doesn't go your way. But as you can see here, we've got the whole field on pit road taking advantage of this competition caution to come in and put some fresh tires on. The 00 will lead them down.
Definitely the best move. Get some fresh rubber underneath these ARCA cars. It's going to need it. These things, they are very tight in the corners. If you have any experience on the iRacing service, you know that these vehicles are pretty new. I think it was season 2 that they were added, so they've been around for a few weeks now. Drivers getting very comfortable with them, but as you've seen through the entire season here, it's not an easy one to get the hold of, and Braxton DeWeese does beat Bailey Turner off pit road, but narrowly. That was close.
Yeah, that was a really close battle off of pit road. I believe you are correct, though. I think Braxton DeWeese did get him by just the slimmest of margins. But also, just to touch on something else real quick that you mentioned with how these cars drive here, something that they do in this series to try to help them drive just a little bit better, they do run a slightly modified setup from the iRacing fixed setup. Something that they do just to try to get them freed up a little, make the racing a little bit better. And I got an opportunity to run a few of these earlier this season, and it does seem like what they are doing does definitely help with that.
It's very much needed. It's a pretty common complaint with this chassis, just how tight that it feels in the corners. And big shout out to the Below the Double Yellow admins here for putting in the time and effort and not getting really as much recognition as they surely deserve for getting these cars set up to drive better. Because it produces so much better racing here for everybody involved. It's much more fun to watch at home. It's much more fun to be on the track. It's overall just a 10 out of 10 experience. I just have to shed the light on the admins over here for putting in that extra effort. But we've got some racing to get right back to. Braxton DeWeese, we're going to see it again. The 00 in control on the bottom. Bailey Turner hangs on to the outside spot. Jonathan Cofield retains his third place position with Michael Kostick to his outside. Ray Massey, Cody Adkins, AJ Stravato, Brody Hayes, Jeremiah Hobbs, Dennis Faircloth round out the top 10. And coming out of turn 4 we go. Let's see that green flag again. Braxton DeWeese sends us down the straightaway.
And another really good jump for Braxton DeWeese. He is going to easily clear into the lead as they head down into 1 and 2. Jonathan Cofield on the inside of that 24 of Bailey Turner. Really tight through 1 and 2. Cofield going to slide up in front of him and take that position. Bailey Turner looking back to the inside in 3 and 4. See if he can make it stick. He's got a good run alongside him, but Cofield should have the momentum here off of 4.
That outside line just carries so much speed that it's really hard to make that inside line work. The slide job just not able to be completed for Bailey Turner. But, it's the nature of the beast here. You have to run within inches off of the wall in turns 1. You start to come down the track a little bit in turn 2, the exit rather of your first corner. And then just turns 3 and 4 are so entirely different. Here we've got 28 drivers that have taken on the challenge. We still have, looks like, 25 on track. As Brody Hayes now looking to make a move to the inside. Let's see if this one sticks for him around the 55 of Cody Adkins. And it's going to work. Coming down the backstretch, gets the slide job up in front.
Yeah, that is not an easy pass to complete in 1 and 2. We've kind of been talking about it throughout the early stages of this race. Just really a power move out of the 37 there to get that position, move up into 7th. And, we were talking about AJ Stravato earlier. Notice he is up into the top 5. I've almost got that Jaws theme playing in the back of my mind here as he's worked his way up. He is within striking distance of the leaders now.
The Italian Stallion finding his stride, up 15 positions already. Let's see if he can make something special happen here. The qualifying effort not up to par for what we typically see out of that 33. Not sure what happened, but the move to the inside. Will he be able to get around Kostic? Kostic makes contact with the wall, but it doesn't look just quite clear. Now he is. Stravato to the top 4 is a move for second being made. Bailey Turner to the inside of Cofield. And now completely clear before they even make it all the way to the other side of the corner.
Yeah, Bailey Turner with just a really strong move to the bottom there on Jonathan Cofield. Easily able to clear. And even while doing that, still able to make up some ground on our leader, Braxton DeWeese. He's already starting to look to the inside here. Bailey Turner, the man on a mission right now, trying to take this lead. He's going to look to the inside in 3 and 4.
He's going to get completely clear. DeWeese seemingly letting up on the backstretch. Didn't quite want to make that challenge. He's going to let the 24 turn some laps at the front of the field now. That'll be a bonus point in his category here. So that helps out, and looks like another yellow on the track.
Yes, so that is the 97 of Mark Cofield doing a crab walk down the front straightaway now. That car is badly damaged. Take a look at what happened here on the VSPEED instant replay, battling the 0-3 of Noah Mikulski. And actually, that wasn't on Noah at all. Mark just gets in a little too hot, gets into the wall, comes down in front of the 0-3 and gets hit. Just nowhere for the drivers behind the 97 of Mark Cofield to go. And that car is definitely damaged.
Yeah, that is not the ideal driving line. But it looks like pretty well a single car incident. It's going to be heavy damage on the left front, so he's going to spend quite a bit of time down in pit road, might even call it a night. We'll have to keep an eye on that 97, see if he brings it back out onto the track. He's now making his way down pit road, still crab walking, doing a good job controlling it, honestly.
Yeah, that is not easy to drive back when they are like that, bringing some old COT vibes with the way that that thing is yawed out a little bit there. But yeah, also of note, no fast repair in this series. You see it in some of the other series that we have here on VSPEED that they will have that fast repair. But if it's heavy enough damage, it is going to end your night over here in this series.
The unfortunate thing about real life racing, it's pretty well the same circumstances. Try to keep it as close to that as possible is the motto. Not doing too bad here. 31 laps in the book so far out of 135. We've got a couple incidences on the board here so far, but once we start getting into that single file kind of lineup, we'll see it really go to those long green flag runs that we know and love so well here on these Tuesday nights.
Yeah, definitely been a little bit of a choppy start here between the early incidents, the competition caution, but no doubt that these guys will get it sorted out and get it rolling. And real quick, just a driver that I want to give a shout out to is that 55 of Cody Adkins, running in the 8th position currently. Cody has not had the start to the season that he wanted. He has been caught up in incidents. Seems like wherever the wreck is at, he's been there with no fault of his own. So good to see Cody so far having a nice run up there in the 8th position.
You know, I have to say too, if I recall correctly, I don't think that Cody Adkins has been representing this paint scheme the entire season. So this could very well be that, you know, bad luck streak breaker that he needs here. Just a simple switch is all you need to get your mind right. He's doing all right now. Pace car is off. Bailey Turner in control this time with Braxton DeWeese still on the inside. And away we go here for I believe our 5th restart of the night. A big jump from the outside that time. Bailey Turner way out ahead. Braxton DeWeese under fire from AJ Stravato up on the outside. Stravato up into the top 3, and we didn't even notice it.
Yeah, really good run from AJ. And the first time this evening we've seen the leader choose that outside lane on the restart. Worked out really well for Bailey Turner. But behind him, as he's cleared for the lead, the 00 of the week, Stravato, Cofield, they are all right there under a blanket together, battling for second. And AJ Stravato putting more pressure on that 00 right now.
So you have to think about strategy at this point. We've had a few cautions here. What's the game plan from here? Are you trying to split this race any specific way, Daniel, or are you just running it out of fuel? Bring it down pit road once you're dry.
So, anybody that's been teammates with me, as our producer Lucas Lyons could attest, if he had a live mic right now, I'm always thinking about fuel strategy. When we went back green, it was about 110 laps to go. Had that early caution. We said 47 to 50 laps on fuel. Might be able to stretch it a little bit farther as the tires wear if it does go green. I'm already thinking about, can I do this on one stop instead of two? That's where my mindset is as we see a close battle there between Massey and Hayes, with Brody Hayes getting a little loose on corner exit. But that's where my mindset is. If I can commit to it now, there's things that you could do to stretch it, especially here at Darlington, to make that fuel last. So that's what the strategy would be in my book, and see if we can maybe swindle these guys a little bit here.
Cody Adkins makes contact with the wall out of turn 2, kind of stacks up the traffic behind. Now he is under fire from, I believe that's the 31 of Jeremiah Hobbs. Now falling back to this battle again with Dennis Faircloth, where Faircloth got into the wall. Separated those two. Oh, a near crossover maneuver there. I thought that was going to be a right rear and nose into the wall for Hobbs. And right now, if you're Noah Mahalski and you're watching this battle and these crossovers, that's a terrifying feeling to be so close to it.
Yeah, it definitely is. You see that happening in front of you, just the way you have to commit to these turns. If somebody gets sideways in front of you, there's really nothing you can do. There's just no time to react. You can't really just turn hard left, as you see Dennis Faircloth really loose there. Mikulski's going to take a look to the inside, try to get around him and see if he can complete this pass over in 3 and 4. Looks like he's got just a little bit of the edge. He's going to slide up in front of Dennis Faircloth. And even just taking a look right now at our live chat out there on YouTube, Chris DeWeese made the comment a little bit ago, no need to push, riding around for now. I believe that was in reference to one of our battles for the lead that we had. And Chris is absolutely right. No need to push early, just log some laps and keep the fenders on it for right now.
Unless you're that 54 of Levi Cox, you want another race win on your board. He went all the way towards the back of the field, now finds his way up into the 12th position with a lot of race to go. Keep an eye on that 54 as he will be looking to make it up further and further. Looks like we've got an issue for the 15 machine. He's picked up a meatball flag, so heavy damage on Christian Blackwell's ride tonight. Not too sure what's happened to him. That is a race-ending incident for him. No caution on the track. DeWeese gets back around here, around the 33 of AJ Stravato. So DeWeese back up to the second position. Bailey Turner still holds down the lead for now. DeWeese finding a second win here. Might try to get that 00 back up into the lead. Might be missing that clean air now.
Yeah, definitely a good job by DeWeese to get back up there into second. Looks like, I'm not sure if maybe AJ's just struggling with the handling of his car right now, or maybe just trying to pace a little bit here and save some tire in case it does get a long green flag run in. Jonathan Cofield now pulled up right behind that 33. Man, I just love that camera angle, watching them go through 1 and 2 so close to the wall, just showcasing how difficult this track is to drive.
And another aspect to this track too that we haven't quite talked about are the incidences, the wrecks. You know, we could kind of visualize with Dover how that is considered a self-clearing track. Everything seems to find its way down to the bottom. Well, Darlington is kind of in the same category, but in its own sense. Not due to the banking down the back and the front stretch, but more so just because of how these cars react off of the wall, out of these corners. The Darlington stripe. Once you make contact with that right rear, you are going to be forced down the track. We've seen it time and time again where these guys are making contact with that wall on corner exit. Just back there, you see it at the top of the screen. It just offsets the car at least a half lane or better. And it all depends on how quickly you are able to regather the suspension underneath the car. As AJ Stravato is going to take a look to the inside now, said no more on this number 3 spot. Felt too pressured from Cofield. Cofield and Hayes almost make contact. And that's going to allow Hayes to sneak up into the top 4 as Stravato gets around Deweese again.
And I think that might have been a little bit more than almost making contact. I don't think it was a lot, but it was just enough that the 58 of Jonathan Cofield was moved up the track just a little bit there, allowed Brody Hayes to get by. And, you know, we're seeing these drivers struggle so much with the handling and what they're fighting out there. One thing we have yet to talk about is our weather here this evening, with our air temp being 87 degrees, but that track temp up at 121 currently, not helping the grip levels. Actually a little bit cooler than it was earlier. I believe I saw it up over 130 in practice. So compared to what they had earlier, these guys might be loving what they have, as you see the 54 of Levi Cox sideways off of 2 there.
And here's those extended green flag runs with the tire wear finally coming into effect, as we are only 24 laps into this stint. We're seeing a lot of cars getting loose or up into the wall on corner exit. Brody Hayes says he wants a piece of the action up here in the top 3. Took a look to the inside of Deweese. Falls right back behind as he couldn't gather up enough speed to make a challenge to the inside down into the corner. Didn't want to lose too much momentum and give Jonathan Cofield a run back up to him. He'll look again to the inside in 3 and 4. This likely isn't the best place to do it, as Deweese will easily hold on to that spot. Hayes slots back in behind once more. And this is going to be what the theme of the rest of the race is. It's going to be taking looks and a lot of it not happening.
Yeah, it's really difficult to complete those passes. And with Brody Hayes, what do you say we queue up an onboard to see exactly what these drivers are looking at here? And you can see just, it's so tight to the car in front of you. You really don't have a good view of what's going on. Just past that is Brody Hayes right up on the back bumper of that 00. See, he backs off just a little bit to try to get that run through 1 and 2, up there, ripping the fence. Got his foot in it, cuts back down on exit, trying to get that momentum so he can make a move on the 00. But Deweese, rather Braxton Deweese, getting ready to make a move on AJ Stravato here.
You know, one thing here with the telemetry we have down in the bottom left, we are about 5 miles an hour off pace on corner entry. Right now, about 170 into turn 1. Normally on fresh tires, about 175 to 177. And then down into turn 3, we pick up a little bit more speed, about 175 miles per hour into turn 3. Normally about 180 to 182 on fresh tires. So quite a bit down on speed. That's where that corner exit speed is going to come into play. Finding that momentum and keeping it. It's going to be a big, big play here. We are now 50 laps into this race.
As we take a look a little bit farther back, Levi Cox, Noah Mikulski still battling for position back here in 9th and 10th, giving it everything they've got. Good recovery so far for Levi, and just visually, the front of that car does not look nearly as beat up as it did earlier. So whatever the pit crew was down there doing, whatever tools they broke out to get that thing fixed, it looks like they've done a good job with that, and he is back in the game here to get himself a solid finish.
Back in the game for potentially another driver. The 91 of Zach Smith has brought it down to pit road. He was in the back half of the field, but some fresh tires can certainly change that, especially if these other drivers decide to stay out until about lap 70 or 75, somewhere there, looking to split this race in half. So we have a different strategy on the board. I'm liking the idea. I don't know if it's going to pay off. A caution would be his best bet once he gets back to the lead lap. But by that point, you're talking about fresh tires again. So it's a difficult road to navigate. We'll see how it plays off as he is back out onto the track, I believe. No, the 91's still in pit road, so I think maybe fixing some damage up.
Yeah, could possibly be some damage. Easy to do here at Darlington with as close as they're running to the wall. And with these newer ARCA cars that they have, it seems like it takes a little bit less to get it damaged than the old car did. They're a little bit more susceptible to that suspension damage. So possibility that that's what happened, but up front, we have still got one heck of a battle going on here between our top 5, all right there under a blanket, really our top 7, all right there, single file, nose to tail, just trying to find a way around here as we've got side by side between Brody Hayes and Braxton DeWeese.
Top 7, Bailey Turner, AJ Stravato, Hayes, DeWeese, Cofield, Massey, and Caustic, all under a blanket. All drivers that I've seen have great success at these short track races. And it is, you can't really pick one out of these top 7 to even say they're a favorite to win. There's just so many different things that could happen as Levi Cox will bring it down. He just made his way back into the top 10. The 54 will be on a alternate strategy, looking to maybe make this a 2-stopper to end this one here tonight. Zach Smith still in the box. That might be night over for the 91 as he is now 5 laps down. We'll see where Levi Cox cycles back out into the field. He will certainly be a lap behind. I don't know. This could play out very differently than most Darlington races I've seen.
Yeah, it definitely could be a little bit different. And really, if they were going to 2-stop, if you're fully committed to it, this is about when I would expect it. They're 35 laps in on this stint, roughly 80 laps to go. So you're talking 35, 40, and 40 on tires. And, if you're somebody like Levi Cox, you don't even necessarily need it to go green to the end for this to work, as we've got a tight battle off of 2 between Stravato and Hayes. See if they can get it sorted out before they get into 1 and 2, but they're going to be side by side. Almost contact between them, but able to get it sorted out. Still everybody just on top of each other through 1 and 2. But yeah,
Hayes got extremely lucky there that gap opened back up. DeWeese was almost to the point where he was on that quarter panel.
Yeah, that was really tight between them, and it looked like everybody's struggling for grip there at the same time. But yeah, as far as with this pit strategy, though, Levi Cox could very well just be hoping, hey, let's get the first green flag cycle to play out, and then maybe a caution comes out while he's in the lead or has a gain on track position. So have to see how that plays out as we watch a battle between Cofield, Massey, and Caustic here for position. Cody Atkins not far behind either.
Soon enough, we will see that 54 start carving through this field like a hot knife through butter. We are about 2 to 2.5 seconds off of the best lap times now with this 38 lap run that we've had. Or, well, 38 laps on the tires, not a 38 lap run, but about 22 to 23 laps now completed on this run. So that's a lot of heat in the tires. It's a lot of wear on the tires. You have to think, at what point does it even out? What time or what lap number do you stop losing time on your laps?
Yeah, and as you can see with our lap times over there on the ticker, Levi Cox that last lap ran a 29.94. Our race leader, Bailey Turner, a 31.16. So by far the fastest car on track is Levi Cox in that 54. Just the worst nightmare scenario for him right now is a caution. He at least needs to see everybody hit pit road. If it does shake out where we get through the entire green flag cycle, he should gain some track position from it.
Brody Hayes takes another look to the inside of Stravato. Couldn't quite get it down to the bottom of the track that he needed to try to carry that momentum, has to whoa it up just enough, gets a good run down the backstretch, closes up that gap that he had just created. DeWeese carrying a whole lot of momentum around the top of the track, nearly got to the right rear of Hayes for that third position. I cannot believe just how tight this is up here. Dennis Faircloth now making his way down pit road. We got the 27 of Ryan Phillips in pit road. So here we go, a whole lot of mixtures on the tire calls.
Yeah, starting to see a little bit of a difference in some of these tire strategies. And DeWeese did something through 3 and 4 the last time that I hadn't really seen anybody do yet, and that was run that top line as efficiently as he did. And he got a lot of momentum from it. I was kind of surprised he didn't jump back up there unless he just maybe didn't feel comfortable with it. But even now, as we watch everybody going through 1 and 2, you could just see they keep getting tighter to the wall, just trying for that little bit of grip. And Jonathan Cofield actually going to try to go to the inside of DeWeese to take that 4th spot away. DeWeese going to have the momentum up on that high groove, see if he can hold Cofield off for now.
Brody Hayes with the big wiggle off of turn 4. Slots back in behind AJ Stravato. Bailey Turner still happy to be in the lead. We end up getting any opportunity to maybe pull him up in the booth. I'd like to talk to him about just how important that clean air is here tonight. A lot of the times it's not all that important at a short track, but here at Darlington, it most certainly is. I just want to get a quick word when we can and just confirm that and let him describe, from his perspective, the importance of it. We'll say Levi Cox, he's running back here behind the 5 of Alan Dice, so he's starting to work his way up through the field. Dice running in that 14th position, so he still has a long ways to go before he's back on the lead lap. AJ Stravato to the outside, now Bailey Turner. Brody Hayes looking to make an opportunity happen as well. You saw a gap between them, but luckily didn't get there because that gap closed just as quickly as it opened. Bailey Turner's going to lose 2 positions now, back to the 3rd spot. AJ Stravato into the lead for the first time tonight. Brody Hayes takes up 2nd.
Yes, Stravato has completed the rebound from that earlier caution when he got caught up, but this battle for the lead is not over yet. Brody Hayes says, you have it, I want it. He's going to look to the inside in 3 and 4 as we also see more of our leaders pitting. DeWeese and Bailey Turner both hitting pit road here. So the first of our front runners to come down pit road and take advantage for a 4-tire stop.
Ray Massey as well with that group. So a couple front runners up there. We're going to remove some of them from the top 10. Replace some faces up there. Looks like Danny Glover has also elected to bring it down pit road. This is where it starts getting extremely spicy. We've got a lot of different strategy calls out here. A lot of different drivers that, might have taken fuel only on the last caution that we had. So they've got about 10 extra laps compared to some of these other drivers that are in the top 10. So there's a lot that can happen here through the course of this pit cycle. We're going to come around here to complete lap number 69 and kick us off to almost the back half of this race.
Yeah, and something that we haven't talked about just yet is this pit road entry. Darlington, if it's not the toughest pit road in all of NASCAR to get onto, it's definitely in the top 2 or 3. I think Dover might be about the only one that could give it a run for its money. Just the way that you have to enter, you're down in all of that dirt and marbles. It's just so hard to get the car slowed down. It's really easy to lock up or get it looped around. So that's going to be something that these drivers have to contend with, and it's an area where you could either make up or lose a lot of time here.
I think that's due to the shape of that pit road entrance. As you can see down there in the bottom of turns 3 and 4, there's a lot of room on the apron. So that gives you a false sense of security of your speed that you can carry. And then very quickly, that pit road entrance comes up, and it is not nearly as wide as that apron is, and a big wiggle there off of turn number 2. 46 of Sullivan starting to struggle a little bit here as well as the rest of the field. But yeah, the pit road entrance, it narrows down to about 2.5 car width. versus the apron, you can fit probably 5 or 6 side by side down there.
Yeah, it definitely looks like you should be able to drive it in a lot deeper than you can. But speaking from experience, I've had a lot of good moments here at Darlington, but I've had a couple of missteps. As we take a look here, Michael Kostick and Michael Robinson battling for position. That 29 was right up on the back bumper of the 9. He was also right up ripping that Larson line through 3 and 4. And he is going to use that momentum, look to the inside of Kostick, and he's going to be able to clear down into 1 and 2. Really good run there for the 29, carrying a lot of momentum.
Michael Robinson finding his way up into the top 5, and he's going to take full advantage of it to take away that 4th position. He's got a little bit of room here before he sees the top 3. He's about a second behind Jonathan Cofield, who's about a quarter of a second behind AJ Stravado, who's a second and a half behind Brody Hayes. We finally got some distance in our top 5 for pretty well the first time tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit of separation here as we go through this pit cycle. Levi Cox currently in 11th. He's the first one that has pitted, albeit a lot earlier than some of our other leaders. He's currently 17 laps in. Bailey Turner in 12th behind him, about 4.5 seconds back. He is only 5 laps in on tires right now. And just looking at our timing and scoring, seeing that our current 11th place driver, Dallas Sullivan, he was 11th. Looks like he just hit pit road. He has got a meatball. No caution came out, but some pretty heavy contact for the 46 of Sullivan there earlier.
And just a recap here on the 54 of Cox is the track position more so than the physical position on the timing and scoring. He was out here just ahead of the 29 of Michael Robinson before he brought it down pit road. So, you know, that's a big deal. You made your way all the way back to the top 3. They still had to pit, and you're out here already. You've turned 20 laps now this time by. This will seemingly put Levi Cox right into the lead, at least for a little bit before those fresh tires start to catch up. Oh, the worst thing that could happen does. The yellow flag comes out right before Levi Cox got back to the lead lap.
And it looks like there are a bunch of drivers that are going to be trapped a lap down, trying to see where exactly that started. I believe I heard on race comms the 88 mic'd up of Eric Hutton and mentioned something with that wreck. Not sure if it started with him or if it started elsewhere. Still trying to see what exactly happened, if it did involve him or not. Let's take a look on the replay here. Not really seeing anything for him specifically. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss on that one, Logan.
Trying to find it myself.
Oh, as you can see, we actually just passed it there. That was the 23 of Massey that was caught up with another driver. Didn't quite catch who that was. Believe it was the 02 of Loveland, as you can see on the replay here. Looked like Massey had a pretty big run on him getting down into 3, and just a little bit of a maybe a misjudgment there as they get together. Both cars getting some damage from that. Take another look back through it here. On board with Loveland. You see just that contact between the two. Turns the 23 nose first into the wall there.
Just looking back here on my side of the replays, and I think the 54 of Levi Cox might have actually gotten around AJ Stravado there and back onto the lead lap with just seconds to spare before that caution came out. So Levi Cox is actually going to be a big winner in this situation. We Yeah, he was able to bring it back down pit road. He's got some fresh tires underneath the 54 now and sitting in the 3rd spot. So it's not what you want to happen. You know, you went for the alternate strategy. It works out, but it doesn't work out how you would plan for it to.
Yeah, but definitely gets him back in the game here with some track position. So the 54 now a factor again, and he's going to be one to deal with on this restart. And just there was a lot to unpack there with that pit cycle. Driver that I gave a shout out to earlier, Cody Atkins, was involved in an incident trying to get down the pit road. Looked like it pretty well killed the car with that as well, and now showing back in 20th place. There was quite a few waiver rounds on that as well, so I believe they have actually extended this caution, even though the pace car has pulled off. They'll pick it back up over here at pit exit just so they can let all of these waiver rounds get caught back up.
A lot of the field not quite there. So good call to extend this one more time around. Might actually be 2 laps around as we are single file here. We'll get it sorted out momentarily. Curious to see if these pace car lights will be on or not. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk to one of our drivers, but I don't want to do so if we're going to immediately go back to green. So we might play this one safely. Although very odd to see the entire field on the bottom line. We only have 2 cars starting out side by side for this restart.
This is giving me old school NASCAR vibes here from back in the 90s. You got one car up top, and then you've got everybody else on the bottom with just the way that that pit cycle and that caution fell. So this could get a little bit messy, even though it is single file because of how long the line is.
It very well could. It feels like I'm right back on the Goat Locker 87 series, but here we go with Stravato in the lead with a train rather, of cars behind. And Levi Cox is up there right behind. Eric Hutton gets left all alone on the top side. No help to get down into turn 1. Levi Cox takes advantage. Right back to the second position for the 54. And AJ Stravato is going to be happy for now, as a lot of that competition is way back behind. Ray Massey 1 lap down. And then you got Brody Hayes back in the 9th position. Bailey Turner back in 14th. There's a lot of room here for Stravato to make a big jump in the points tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like there may actually be a couple of lap cars between our 3rd place runner of Eric Hutton and, oh, you see, it looks like Jonathan Cofield, I believe that was in the wall. May not have been Cofield. Actually, I'm sorry. That was not Jonathan Cofield. I misspoke on that. The car that looks kind of similar, I believe that was actually the 27 that got into the wall of Ryan Phillips.
Very hard to say with this mixed match restart with the field. But in the meantime, Levi Cox did get around AJ Stravato, so now back to the lead for the 54. Stravato will be trying to catch up now. They are on the same strategy on the tires and fuel. If I recall correctly, no, they will not be able to make it to the end from that caution unless we get a few more in a row, extending that fuel life. So we should still see one more cycle of pit stops before this one is all said and done, Daniel.
Yeah, it's going to be really close. It looks like a lot of our drivers are about 6 laps since that last pit stop. A couple others like Jonathan Cofield, Michael Robinson, 8 laps. So it would take a little bit of saving, but probably not going to be in that window to make it to the end. And as we take a little bit further look back here, Jeremiah Hobbs in the 31 trying to get around the 80 of Dennis Faircloth. He's going to be able to do so. Michael Kostick right behind, looking to take advantage and take a position here as well. you can see Kostick able to get around there for that 9th position. And something, too, to keep an eye on is that even though we did just have that caution and that restart, a lot of these drivers are just on different tire strategies right now. Just Dennis Faircloth taking a look there. He is 23 laps in to his run as a result of that wave around that he had to take when that caution came out. Some of these other drivers have a lot fresher tires as we take a look up front. Top 3 all under a blanket. Levi Cox still with the lead. Stravato in second, Hutton in third. They are all battling for position here.
You know, it's funny just how quickly a gap can disappear. Levi Cox had about a quarter of a second or better, and now Stravato already within a 10th. And challenging now as he takes a look to the inside. He's going to get to the door. How's the run down the front stretch going to be? Levi Cox holds on to it at the line, but Stravato on the inside for turn 1 is a dangerous combination as he sends it in deep, nearly sliding up into the 54, keeps it off the door, and big time loose is going to get into him. They collect it. What a save indeed.
Big contact between our leaders, and they're all able to get it going straight again. You just don't see that at this racetrack. All the while, Eric Hutton taking the lead, Rhea Massey in behind trying to get a lap back the old-fashioned way. Currently not on the lead lap, but, you know, Logan, I think we might need to queue up a replay if we can of that and just take another look. Just absolutely phenomenal driving there to hang on to it between our leaders. See Stravato on the inside, sends it down in there, trying to get that position, get clear. Side by side, so hard to do. AJ with just a little wiggle, and I do not know how Levi Cox was able to hold on to that. That is a spot of the track where the car is already loose. It's unloading off the banking, and he's able to hang on to it. That is just some phenomenal driving out of the 54.
And that's all caused just by the left front tire of Stravato barely clipping the apron. You saw the car get a little unsettled on the bottom, but just what a fantastic save from both drivers even. And Stravato had a lot to handle there. Levi Cox nearly, 70 degrees sideways.
Oh, we see Michael Robinson in the wall in that 29 off of 2. Sorry to cut you off there, Logan, but big contact out of the 29. Still rolling for now, but that was a pretty hard hit off of 2.
And right in front of Stravato as well. So now the 33 has quite the drive ahead of him to get back to the front of it. Braxton Deweese was able to get by. So back into the top 5 for the 0-0. Eric Hutton retains the lead for now. Levi Cox was able to completely regain momentum, and he did not lose nearly as much ground as Stravato. He holds on to the second spot. However, a lap car or 2 does separate himself from Hutton. So still, you have to complete your passes. They're fighting for position as well right now. So you don't want to force the issue, but you don't want to let Hutton get away.
Yeah, you definitely got to have that balance of how hard do you want to push, but you don't want to let him get too far out. And something else to touch on real quick as far as our 5th place car of Braxton Deweese, he's at a pretty sizable tire disadvantage right now. He's actually 26 laps on this stint as a result of that caution in the wave around, whereas as he just actually fell back to 6th position, the drivers ahead of him are anywhere between 16 to 19 laps on tires. So you can see the last lap pit over there on the left-hand side on our ticker. So really impressive that he's been able to hold on the way that he has with that tire difference. But got to think, if he can get another caution here to get them lined back up with some equal tires, he's still not out of this thing yet.
I very much see a strategy call to perform an undercut coming up here, because we know that we cannot make it to the end of the race. We'll likely see a handful of drivers just drive it until they're out of fuel, hoping for a caution to fall their way. But most of our top contenders will likely end up splitting this one in half again, taking less fuel, 4 tires, maybe even a 2-tire call in there in the mix. there's a lot that can happen here. I know I've said that multiple times already, and everybody's probably sick of hearing me say that. But there's a lot that can happen as Levi Cox is looking to make a move to the inside. Ray Massey into the wall. Massey does not bother Cofield or Hayes as they both move around the lap machine of the 23. Hayes looks immediately to the inside of the 58. And now up to the top 3 for Brody Hayes again tonight. He's got a lot of momentum right now for that 37 machine. We'll see if he can make something happen and challenge Eric Hutton for this race win.
Yeah, Brody Hayes, another driver that has just had a really phenomenal recovery here. You know, we mentioned it earlier. He was back running, I believe, in like 22nd, 23rd position after that early caution that we had, our first of the evening. And now he's up here setting his sights on Levi Cox for second. 2 of our point leaders up there with nice rebounds this evening and trying to keep that fight going for that regular season points title.
Brody Hayes in that fight. Keith Mayato already out very early on in this race. So this will certainly hand over this point standings lead to either Levi Cox or Brody Hayes, whichever one gets the better finish of the night. Eric Hutton, he's still in the battle. He's 40 points behind, or rather 39 points behind this points battle in the lead. And a race win tonight can certainly help. It will knock out one of those, poor performances early on in the season that's hindering this point standings for him.
So big contact off of 2 there, it looked like. Maybe not quite big contact, but definitely some contact with the wall for the 37. Both him and the 54 of Levi Cox looked like they were really loose off of 2, fighting for this second position here. And they are still going at it, and that's let Jonathan Cofield close right up on the back bumper.
That has Cofield, another one of those drivers that seems to find his way in contention for race wins. Not falling his way yet this season, but Darlington has a way of making miracles happen. He's still not safe from AJ Stravato. Brody Hayes right in front. Ray Massey separating Cofield and Stravato, but that's not enough. You are not safe here at the Lady in Black.
And you talked about it, Logan, pit strategy. When do you come down pit road for that final stop? Levi Cox, as he did earlier in the evening, he's going to be the first one to peel off under green here. And first of our leaders, see 2 other names on there. They are getting damage fixed between Cody Adkins, Dallas Sullivan. Think that might open the floodgates for a few more of these guys. Braxton DeWeese looks like pulling down onto pit road, as is Brody Hayes, the 37.
Polsky's going to join the party as well. So here's that group that I was talking about that would try to make this a undercut strategy / splitting it in half. And then we're going to still see a handful of drivers out here. I would expect a lot of the guys that are running either 1 lap down or just outside of the top 10 to stay out as long as possible, run this fuel tank out, and hope for that yellow flag to come out. That's pretty well the only way at this point that you're going to find your way up into the top 5 if you're sitting in the back half of the field.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if I'm somebody like Dennis Faircloth, Jake Mockey, Max Cost, I'm running this thing empty. I'm going to stay out there until my spotter tells me you got to bring this thing down pit road or it's going to run out. I'm going to throw the Hail Mary and see if I can catch a caution, maybe end up with a tire advantage, or at the very least track position. Just take a look over at our scoring pylon. Only our top 10 cars are on the lead lap right now. So to come out where they're going to need to take a wave around.
That it will. And a little bit of a connection issue there on the iRacing service. Hopefully that'll stay sorted out. So we are taking a look here at Michael Robinson up in the 3rd position now as we've got drivers still coming down pit road. Jonathan Cofield is going to join that category. Robinson takes a 3rd position. Let's just take a quick moment to kind of run through how it's all standing. Jeremiah Hobbs has the 4th position for the time being before he decides to bring it down for this last stop of the race. Bailey Turner, Michael Kostick, Dennis Faircloth, Jake Mockey, Max Kost, Ray Massey make up your top 10. Jonathan Cofield in the pits falls back to 11th. Levi Cox in 12th. Brody Hayes in the 13th spot. DeWeese in 14th. Ryan Phillips, who we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight, is in the 15th position here. Noah Mahalski, another driver we haven't mentioned a whole lot. The 03 in 16th. Alan Dice, Rob Liedl, Danny Glover, and Cody Adkins round out your top 20, but it's only the 19 still on the track. Adkins on back have elected to retire early. Sullivan, Loveland, Zach Smith, Christian Blackwell, Mark Cofield, Colton Freymiller, and Keith Mayato not going to see lap 135.
And as you can see there over on the left, Stravato, Kostick, and Kost all on pit road, bringing 3 more cars down. And right now, only 6 cars on the lead lap with them pitting at this point. Even our 7th place runner, Ray Massey, not yet pitting, but was a lap down because of that earlier caution. So he'll still have to hit pit road here as well. This battle that we're watching right here between Levi Cox and Brody Hayes, this is essentially the battle for the race lead once all of this cycles out. These are the first 2 that have pitted. You can see Brody Hayes looking to the inside here of Levi Cox, trying to take that position. It gets tight off of 4, not quite able to complete it.
It is tight. There is nearly contact between our front runners, and they're both going to hold it up to the wall. Levi Cox making contact. Brody Hayes putting the squeeze on at the top end of the track, and he's going to take over what will eventually be the race lead. Levi Cox not going to take kindly to that, however, as he will certainly charge back here. Might take an opportunity for the next couple of laps to hold position, save tires, as we are now within 25 laps to go next time by.
And even with that side-by-side battle, they are still running about a second a lap faster, a little over a second a lap faster than our leader, Eric Hutton, right now. This battle's not over, though. Just as you said, Levi Cox probably not going to like that move too much that Brody Hayes made. Oh, wow, what a big move to the inside by Levi Cox. Thought he was going to lose it there for a second, but he is right back up on the back bumper of that 37, trying to find a way back around. And I can't really say that Brody did anything wrong. We're at that stage of the race where you got to take the opportunity when it's there. And we've got a few more leaders hitting pit road with Eric Hutton, Jeremiah Hobbs, and Michael Robinson all coming down for fresh tires.
It's interesting to see is Dennis Faircloth, the closest driver on the fuel window now, 48 laps completed for the 80 machine, holding down the 2nd spot. Jake Mockey, he's got 42 laps completed so far. Bailey Turner on 34, as well as Ray Massey. So our 4 drivers that still have not brought it down. The window is tight, but Turner and Massey do have an opportunity. If our data is off, even by the slightest bit, they might be able to extend this all the way to the end.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because we haven't had that full green flag run. And as the tires, wear, you're going to start to see a little bit better fuel mileage because you're just not going as fast. So as we see, I couldn't tell if Bailey Turner was getting ready to peel off or if he's just trying to stay out of the way for those fresher tires. Looks like he's just trying to stay out of the way right now. So really curious to see. It would be a bit of a stretch for somebody like Bailey Turner, but you weren't going to win the race anyway. Why not throw the Hail Mary?
Absolutely. I love the call if Bailey Turner's going to try to extend this all the way to the end. If he has that opportunity, this could be big as Stravato to the inside, nearly makes contact. Does make contact with the 58 of Cofield. It's heating up back here. Braxton Weiss able to get ahead, away from danger for now, but Stravato, Cofield, both there. This is the battle for what will be 3rd place after Brody Hayes and Levi Cox. Now they do have a chance that they could still close that gap as they are only 2.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, and this battle right here is another reason why I love what Bailey Turner's doing. These guys are going all out. It's 20 laps to go. You got to take whatever opportunity you have. See AJ Stravado going to slide up in front of that 00. All it takes is one slight mistiming on a move. You catch the caution that makes you look like a hero. So I love it. Do something different. You don't know how it might fall. It might just go your way.
I will say it'd be very cool to see that 13 of Jake Maki able to come away with a podium finish here tonight due to some circumstances that, may or may not help out. But I know that 13 not quite having the season he was looking to have. Overall, not terrible, but could be improved with a race win here at Darlington, or even just that second place finish. I know he'd be very happy to be up here on the podium tonight.
Yeah, definitely hoping for something to fall his way here as we keep an eye on this battle between Cofield and DeWeese. They are both going at it. You can see Cofield right up against that fence through 1 and 2, trying to get every little bit of grip and momentum that he can. Hopefully using some lessons that some teammates have taught him here at Darlington. Not that I'm trying to brag or anything, but Cofield, a teammate of mine in a couple other series, but he is right all over the back bumper of that 00, trying to make something happen here. AJ Stravado has set sail from these two as they continue to battle for position.
That's what the 33 wants to see, as Cofield sends it to the inside. DeWeese says no more of that. Lets him by before we get into the corner. I would say that 00 will likely be on a short tire-saving run for this build-up to the end. Recognizing early that battling side by side isn't helping. He was able to watch that 33 walk away like you mentioned, and now it's time to turn the jets back on before we get to that last lap.
Yeah, as we take a look here, Jonathan Cofield trying to close in, but a little bit farther up the road, Brody Hayes has not been able to shake that 54 of Levi Cox. Levi doing a really nice job staying in the tire tracks of that 37 car. See them both right up there against the fence, trying to get everything they can. Down the back straightaway, Levi trying to make up the rest of that ground that he needs to take that third position.
54 of Cox, fresh off of a truck championship win, looking to make it an ARCA series win over here in BTDY. And impressive that he's done so with just the one win on the board so far versus Hayes and Mayato both with 2. And then, or Hayes rather, with 3. Obviously, Hayes not making all of the races this season. I believe he's had 3. So you've got just the 2 drop weeks. There's 2 zeros canceled out, but you still have that third 0 looming over your head. You have to think you've managed to stay in the realm of a championship here. You really got to focus on making the rest of those races and making every single one of them count. He is doing exactly that here tonight with this second place run at the moment. And he is within 17 seconds now of a race win with just over 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and if Bailey Turner is not able to make it on fuel, that's the big question right now. But if he's not able to make it, this is still a 4-car battle for the win. You see the gaps over there, effectively 2 seconds or so between the 54 of Levi Cox back to Stravado and Cofield. But Stravado and Cofield have been running faster lap times than Brody Hayes and Levi Cox have. So roughly about 0.2 a lap. Looks like it may have actually equalized a little bit that last time by, but still not out of the picture of this yet as we close in on 10 laps to go. Still quite a few cars in play for a win here.
We were about 2.5 to 2.7 seconds behind a few laps ago for Stravado Cofield. Now they are within that 2-second range. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get to this lead battle, but again, it's Darlington. Darlington does really weird things sometimes. As Ryan Phillips will now be the first on the oldest strategy on the field to bring it down pit road. So the 27 not able to make it on fuel, it seems. 1 lap down. He'll certainly go a second lap down here, if not more. Bailey Turner, what do you have left in the tank? Can he make it? Brody Hayes, Levi Cox ready to take over this race win if he can't.
Yeah, and I really would have thought if he couldn't make it, he would have already been down pit road, especially with everybody else coming down. We're going to take a look on board here with the 24 of Bailey Turner. He's got plenty of gap. He's got 14 seconds, as you can see there on our scoring pylon. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he might actually be clutching based off of what was showing on his digital dash. It was showing about 1,000 RPMs going into the turn. I know our telemetry there showed, no, actually it's showing it there too, 1,000 RPMs. So he's clutching this. He is definitely in the full save, try to make it to the end here.
I love this call. It is the Hail Mary of all Hail Marys. 1 lap down whenever he started this run, now finds his way to the #1 spot, and we are inside 10 to go. The fuel window, we are there. 49 laps right now for Bailey Turner. He needs to extend it just a little bit more than what we're told it can be. You know, I have to say at this point, I'm rooting for the 24. If this strategy pays off, you mentioned it once already, that is 0 to hero.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to be the fastest guy. You just have to be the smartest one out there. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with winning a race that way. Bailey Turner has won plenty of them on pure pace before, especially here in BTDY. But he might just snooker these guys tonight. And I love it. I'm with you. We don't have favorites up here in the booth, but man, what a story that would be if he's able to stretch that fuel.
We don't have favorites, but we have underdogs, and this is an underdog situation. Everybody loves that. It is Bailey Turner looking to make it win #3 after picking up Nashville and Las Vegas, trying to tie it with Brody Hayes. This could be incredible. Back here in the battle for what would be that 4th spot, AJ Stravado holding off Jonathan Cofield, the 13 of Jake Mockey, making his way into the picture. Back in the 15th spot, 1 lap down on fresher tires. He came down 8 laps ago. Granted, he was one of the drivers that was trying to extend this all the way out to the end. Couldn't quite do it like Bailey Turner is trying. Man, that got close off the corner. Whew. That was a sketchy one there with Mahalski in the mix.
Yeah, big battle for position here between Hobbs, Kostick, and Mikulski. And you can see Michael Robinson there not far behind, ready to pounce if these guys make a mistake. And man, he gained a ton of ground through 1 and 2 that time. He's going to make a move to the inside as Jeremiah Hobbs also goes to the inside. Maybe a little contact with Kostick. Both come out of it unscathed. Hobbs, you can see the back end of that thing still dancing around. And now Michael Robinson going to try to get around that 9 of Michael Kostick as well.
Big
into the wall for the 29.
Ooh, it's getting heated up back here at the back half of the top 10. We run as Hobbs in 8th. Robinson takes up the 9th spot. Kostick in 10th and Mahalski in 11th. Now, Michael Robinson did have a tire advantage over Kostick and Mahalski, 5 and 9 laps over those two. But now it's even battleground for the 31 and the 29. Points on the table here for these two drivers is big time loose in the middle of the corner. Robinson able to collect it, but it's getting a little wild back here for the 29.
Yeah, these guys are pushing for everything they've got as we are 3 laps to go. And Michael Robinson is the one car that I've seen way up there ripping the fence in 3 and 4. Man, he was sideways off of turn 4 that time, right in front of Michael Kostick in the 9.
Well, the 80 does get around Bailey Turner. I believe that is the Dennis Faircloth machine getting back onto the lead lap. 14th spot for Faircloth. As we come around here, it is 2 to go. for Bailey Turner. You have to imagine he's got what it takes to make it to the end. A 9-second gap is a lot of ground, but if you run out of fuel, it closes quickly. Out of turn number 4, white flag in the air. Bailey Turner has a chance to go from the very back of the pack all the way to the top step of the podium. The clutch pedal is in around the top side of 1 and 2, down the backstretch. One more time. The 24 of Bailey Turner will come out of turn 4 with a checkered flag in the air and makes the ultimate strategy call to take home yet another win in season 5.
Now, just an absolutely phenomenal drive from Bailey Turner. We said 50 laps. He went 57. And I believe I just heard him say on race comms, he's even got enough left to do a burnout. That is impressive fuel saving out of the 24 to be able to bring home this win. 64 laps led. Phenomenal drive out of Bailey Turner.
He had to have recognized that early and been clutching in for so many more laps than what we caught, because that, 58 and a half, 59 lap fuel window is just a crazy number, way beyond what we thought these cars were capable of tonight. And Bailey Turner will celebrate in a well-deserved fashion, burning it down on the front stretch here at Darlington in South Carolina. 64 laps led on the night and gets it all done here for race win number 3. Daniel, what do we say? We let him celebrate for a few more seconds here. Send it to a quick commercial break. Then we'll be right back for our post-race show and interviews with our top 3. It's been the Florida Skin Doctor 180 here for the Below the Double Yellow Racing League here on VSPEED. Stick around. We'll be right back for the post-race show.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrapyard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipes. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in Darlington, South Carolina, and what a race we had. The ultimate strategy call coming from that 24 machine takes home the race win. We'll take a look at our results before we get into our post-race interviews. We saw it live, Bailey Turner with race win number 3 in season 5. Brody Hayes, with a valiant effort, was able to hold off. Levi Cox holds on to that second position and will shoot himself up to that number 1 spot in the points with just 2 races left. Levi Cox holds on to third, and he'll stay right in the points battle as we go into Dover next week. AJ Stravato, we saw that 33 machine making a whole lot of moves, and 16 positions gained shows exactly that. Started in 20th, finds his way to the top 5. Jonathan Cofield set the pole on the night, holds on to a top 5, but certainly not where he would have liked to have finished. Eric Hutton in the 88 will take up the 6th finishing position. Braxton Deweese falls from the front row on the initial start of the race, back to 7th for the 00. Jeremiah Hobbs in the 31 starts out 21st and finishes here in 8th. Michael Robinson in the 29 machine gets 9th. And last but not least, in the top 10, it's Michael Kostick in the 9.
Taking a look a little bit further back, just outside of our top 10, in 11th, we've got Noah Mikulski. Alan Dice coming home in 12th. Quiet night for him, up from 23rd spot. Dennis Faircloth, 13th. Max Koss, 14th. Jake Maki in 15th. Ray Massey coming home 16th this evening. And coming home in 17th, we've got Rob Liedl, Danny Glover in 18th, Ryan Phillips coming home 19th, Cody Adkins not able to finish this evening, coming home in P20.
And the rest of our non-finishers on the night, unfortunate night for multiple drivers, the worst one being Keith Mayato, first driver out of the race and will fall out of the points lead. Dallas Sullivan in the 46 gets 21st. James Loveland in the 02 and 22nd. Zach Smith, the 91, gets 23rd. Christian Blackwell in the 15 gets 24th. Mark Cofield in the 97 gets 25th. Colton Freymiller in the 17 gets 26th. Keith Mayato in the 27th position. And Jace Coley, who we did not get to see on track tonight, the 65, finishes 28th. Well, that was a tongue twister there. What do you say we get right into the interviews, Daniel? I'm ready to hear from these drivers up here in the top 3, Levi Cox, Brody Hayes, Bailey Turner. And we got some questions to get answers to. So let's have a quick word. We'll start out with our 3rd place finisher, Levi Cox in the 54. Levi Cox Congratulations on P3 here tonight. We saw you up at the front of the field for most of the show. 6 laps led to the name. Started out third, held on to it with one of the quicker lap times on the track. I think maybe the second or third fastest lap time in the race. What more did you need to just get around that 37 of Brody Hayes to get that second spot tonight?
A good question. I think not wrecking on lap 1 would have been a big help. I had to burn an extra set of tires, so didn't exactly get to play the strategy how I wanted it. I was kind of I'd catch up to the front 2 or 3 guys, and there's just no passing here, so I wanted to go ahead and get fresh tires and make good, clean laps. And I don't know, he got on the inside of me off of 4, and I didn't want to concede the spot, and kind of hit up in 1 and 2, and that was all she wrote.
Well, Levi, a really solid recovery even after what happened there on that first lap. With trying to come from the back of the field, I know you mentioned it was hard to pass here. What was your mindset after that early spin and just trying to get back up through the field?
Yeah, luckily we had that competition caution on lap 20, so I just tried to get as much damage as I could repaired and just get through the field. I knew we were going to have that caution, so I didn't care about saving tires, just trying to pass some cars and put myself in the best position I could coming out of that comp caution to really see what I could do after that. And plan was just to pit as early as possible, and I really thought it was going to work out. I got real lucky whenever that caution come out under pit cycle. I just cleared the leader by maybe half a door. But I love the strategy I was on because I'd already unlapped myself and I was going to be coming back down to pit road pretty quick. So by the time their tires were going to catch up to me, I was already going to be back on pit road and in really good shape for that last stint. So it's a shame that caution come out, but it is what it is. We made a valiant effort out of it.
A valiant effort indeed. Get you P3. Levi Cox, we saw you take home a win at Auto Club. You're no stranger to how this goes. Who do you have to say thanks to for your performance tonight at Darlington?
Oh man, well, we got a bunch of people. Real quick, Big Fast Racing and all the guys in there. They're always great guys to hang out with and encouraging and just fun chit chat. So Mythic Metals, Overcut Sim, Endurance Planner, Still Graphics and Designs, #1 Hero Cards, Duncan Water Systems, and then Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Y'all go check him out. He's got a couple new songs out here recently. And the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ just for giving me life and what he came to this earth to do.
Let's drive cars here on the iRacing Simulator on a Tuesday night. Congratulations, Levi Cox, P3. Get to celebrating with that team. And we'll see you next week as we take on yet another short track at Dover.
Thanks, sir. Y'all have a good night.
That'll lead us right into our second place interview. We've sent Daniel down the line here. He's caught up with Brody Hayes in the 37 team.
Hey, Brody, this is Daniel and Logan up in the booth. You got us, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, really solid run. You got 3 wins on the season. I thought you had #4 in line. I did not think that anybody would be able to stretch it on fuel the way that Bailey Turner did tonight. After that last pit stop, when you were what we were calling the de facto leader of the race on that tire strategy, what was your thoughts? What was going through your mind there? Did you think that Bailey would be able to make it, or did you think, man, I got this thing in the bag?
Well, yeah, I mean, he got the lucky dog, and he was out at the back on that restart, and I didn't see him flying up through the field, so I figured he was gonna try. And as soon as Levi ducked, I ducked to pit road to cover him, and I passed Bailey on the track, and I said to myself, I said, he's going awfully slow to be doing anything. So I knew exactly what he was doing, and like I knew his lap times, and I saw my lap times, and I was running out of tire, and he wasn't pitting, and I was like, man, he saved 8 laps of fuel. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. I can't do that. But I mean, props to him. was a hell of a strategy call. Happy to get out of here with a second. It was a little rough, but yeah.
Well, Brody, we saw you come into this race in a very heated points battle with your finish over Levi Cox and Keith Mayato unable to finish this race. This is going to give you that number one spot in the point standings with 2 races to go, Dover and Charlotte. How important is it for you to pick up a couple extra points, get yourself some bonus points as we make our way to the chase?
I mean, it's huge. I'm competitive. I want to win. I want to win everything. So I mean, the easiest way to get bonus points is to win races. So let's go out the next 2 weeks and keep competing at a high level, like I feel like I've been all season. Levi's going to be right there, and Keith is going to be right there. So it's, I mean, you got to stay on top of your game. You can't make any mistakes. You can't. I mean, you gotta be there. You gotta keep focused. But I mean, it's nice to have the points lead, but you can't get comfortable because like we saw lap 1 tonight, anything can happen. So you kind of just gotta keep racing hard and act like you got everything to gain.
Well, with 3 race wins on the season, you're doing pretty dang good so far.
Yeah, I feel like we could have got a couple more. I feel like tonight was another one, but I don't even know where we go next week. I forgot already, but um, yeah, I feel. I mean, we've been competitive every week, so we'll keep going.
Well, really solid run tonight, Brody. Great recovery from the early troubles that happened. And I expect we'll see you up here quite a bit more throughout the rest of the season. Before we let you go this evening, who do you want to thank and shout out?
Give a shout out to you guys in the booth as always. Florida Skin Doctor. All the admins putting this on. It was another great showing field wise. I know it was kind of a messy race, and I will give a shout out to Cody. I feel awful for him. That man has had the worst luck this season, and it just keeps continuing. But he has done a hell of a job at giving us a great car to race week in and week out, and it's been fun. We've been slipping and sliding. This is some of the most fun I've had racing in my time on iRacing. So I know he's probably not in the highest of spirits, but he's done a hell of a job. So I just want to make that known. And I know Ryan wasn't here tonight, but if y'all are around on Friday, FS1, our boy Ryan Gimmel's gonna attempt the Watkins Glen ARCA race again. So make sure you pay attention for the number 29 Nemco ARCA car. So yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, Brody. Good luck on the rest of the season. Our second place finisher, Brody Hayes, here this evening. And Logan, I believe that you are standing by and ready to speak to our race winner, the man that stretched his fuel way farther than any of us thought we could, Bailey Turner.
Yeah, Bailey Turner with the strategy call of the century takes home his 3rd race win of the season, 64 laps led. Bailey Turner, what an incredible outcome for you tonight. We saw you on that last restart, 1 lap down. Actually, it was mentioned that maybe you had the lucky dog there, just starting at the back of the pack, but coming to that last restart, you were at least 1 lap down and now finding yourself on the top step of the podium. Buddy, I don't really have a question for you. Just tell me about that drive. What an incredible call. Run me through it all.
Yeah, I mean, we were up front at the beginning of the race and, in control. And AJ and I had talked about fuel saving in that middle run of the race, and I just couldn't commit to it and keep the lead like he could. And, him and Brody eventually got by me, so I decided, all right, let's just, divert from this strategy. Let's try to be one of the first ones on the pit road. And then, unfortunately, that ended up biting us. And, of course, went the lap down, was in position to get the lap back, and I was on the front end of all the guys that had already pitted. Felt good about that, but unfortunately that caution came out, and luckily we were the lucky dog. And from that point on, I knew it was going to be a real tight window there as far as fuel. I talked with my teammate AJ and Eric, and Eric was committed to going for the race lead there, and AJ was he was talking about the fuel save for the first 4 or 5 laps, and he's like, man, I just don't think this is doable. And then that was my light switch because I was already in the back of the field trying to race my way back up. I was like, all right, well, let's just, we're already 10th. It's going to be hard to pass 10 cars, with how the aero is in these cars and different things like that. So pretty committed to that fuel save about 5 laps in. And, we were lifting at the Boeing backstretch sign in the middle of the backstretch and coasting it into the corner, and on the front stretch about 100 or 200 yards past the start finish, and just coasting it on in. And luckily with these cars there's a good amount of draft, so you get tucked in behind a guy or two for a couple laps, and that'll save you 3 or 4 tenths here or there throughout the run. And at the point that I knew I was good was probably about 20 to go, and I was like, well, let's see if we can just save enough for a burnout at the end. So that became the new goal, about 20 laps to go, and luckily we got to have a little burnout at the end for a little fun.
A little cocky and confident there.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive that you got to a point with 20 to go that you said, hey, you know what? I got this thing wrapped up. Let me just save a little bit for a burnout here. So, I mean, was that because we had followed on board with you there for a few laps at the end and saw that, you had been clutching. Was that something that you were doing the entirety of the run, or was that just something that you decided to start doing to save that fuel for the burnout?
Yeah, no, that was about 5 or so laps into the run. I want to say AJ Travato kind of decommitted from any kind of fuel saving because he had talked about it. And at that point, like I said, I knew I was kind of buried in track position wise, still close enough to the leaders, but just buried as far as I'm not going to pass 10 cars. So about 5 laps or so into the run, I just said, all right, I'm just going to go all out for the fuel save. And yeah, like I said, with about 20 to go, I could tell that, the lap times were evening out with the leaders. They were going to have to catch me by over a second a lap, and they were already, running 30.5s, and I was running 31.2, 31.3. So, at that point, I knew I was good, and if I needed to, I could back up my pace even more. But at that point, you're just hoping that a caution doesn't come out and ruin the strategy and bring us all back into a bunch. But, yeah, like I said, just knew the fuel strat could have came into play. It was already tight earlier in the race as far as a couple windows with how the cautions fell, and I learned my lesson on where I needed to lift and do all that kind of stuff. And you can ask a lot of guys in this league. I've won a few races just through fuel strat alone. So if it was a road course, if AJ Travato was here last week, he probably would have saved 10 laps of fuel at Road America somehow and beat me. But I feel like I got a pretty good handle on it on the ovals.
Well, fortune favors the bold. Bailey Turner, for the 3rd time this season, from the top step of the podium. Who do you have to say thanks for tonight?
Yeah, just teammates over there at Sad Boys. We were missing Angelo tonight, but of course, AJ, it was good to have him out. I think this is one of his first races, or if not, first race of the season. So it was good to have him here. Eric Hutton, obviously, it sucks he had a spin early in the race, but he recovered really well. And a little inside joke, thanks to Eric's girlfriend for cheering me on. And then obviously all the admins and you guys over here. It's fun to come out here every Tuesday night. And like I said before, earlier in the season, the admins do a great job of making sure we have some pretty decent field sizes this season and staying committed to keeping this thing going. So much love to all those guys.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations, Bailey. Get to celebrate, and we'll see you next week, which is at Dover. Don't forget it this time. Good luck there, and hopefully we'll see you up here, battling in the postseason.
Appreciate it, boys.
Well, Daniel, that's going to do it for our post-race interviews. Darlington Motor Speedway, South Carolina, 11 lead changes tonight, only 5 cautions. They came early, and then they disappeared. That's what we like to see. Those green flag runs here on these Tuesday nights are ever such a staple in this series. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, just Darlington never disappoints. Saw a little bit of everything. Had a lot of side-by-side battles, a lot of close battles between drivers. Pit strategy, the fuel drama. I mean, what more can you ask for out of a race? Just, I'll tell you what, I've only been up here in the booth for 2 of these races in BTDY. We had the wild finish at Richmond, 3 wide to the line on a green-white checker, and then the fuel strategy save from Bailey Turner tonight. So, man, just absolutely great racing. This series always puts on a good show for us.
Well, you want to talk about a track that's unpredictable. We talked about it all night for 135 laps. Darlington is tough. But I tell you what's tougher, it's Dover. Miles the Monster will be hungry next week, as I know they stopped feeding him the week before we get there. If you enjoyed tonight's coverage, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another race. For everybody behind the scenes at BTDY and everybody behind the scenes at VSPEED, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith, and Morgan Cook, our producer tonight, Lucas Lyons, and our co-host, Daniel Cunningham. I hope you like hearing my voice back for the first time this season. Hopefully we'll make it a couple more times as we work our way through the playoffs. I'm Logan Threlkeld signing off. Good night, and we'll see you at Dover.